Time Check, brought to you by BioStrath Immune with added zinc. Distributed by H&J Enterprises Limited.
Good evening and welcome. You're watching the 7 p.m. news here on CNC3. I'm Ryan Baichu.
I am Jassi Marik with sport.
And I'm Sigoni Mohammed with your weather report.
Let's tell you what's making the news tonight. New details emerge about the preventive detention of Dominic Hadid and his wife. Order shows intelligence agency uncovered alleged plot to assassinate senior government officials. Allegations of bribery against a magistrate are raising concerns about public trust in the justice system. Legal leaders call for due process.
When a man knows he don't want to work and he can't feed his family, but that was not a man mad, boy. That will really make a man want to kill too. I tell you, that make a man want to kill himself. Like, you know, they do something in case if it dead. If it gets you, it gets you.
Tonight, we look past the crime statistics and into the lives of St. Barb's residents who say poverty, loss and stigma are fueling a cycle they desperately want to break.
Ahead in sport.
Always be ready. It can be anyone.
West Indies rookies dream about scripting a World Cup fairy tale ahead of a crucial semi-final assignment.
A tropical wave is producing mass cloudiness across the islands and showery activity. Just how long will that last? I'll tell you more in the full forecast.
New revelations tonight about the preventive detention orders served on businessman Dominic Hadid and his wife Genevieve. An affidavit filed on behalf of the Ministry of Homeland Security confirms that intelligence agencies uncovered the alleged threat to assassinate senior government officials and members of parliament. The detention order for Dominic alleges that following statements made in parliament during the debate on extending the state of emergency, he expressed violent intentions, saying persons would be, quote, shot in their head. Intelligence further indicates those remarks were part of a developing plan to target members of the government. Genevieve's order claimed she made similar threats, including that the death of the Prime Minister, cabinet members and MPs was required after the parliamentary debate. Authorities say her continued liberty posed a substantial danger to public safety. Both served at Special Branch headquarters in St. James in the presence of their attorneys. Dominic was later transferred to the Eastern Correctional and Rehabilitative Center in Santa Rosa, while Genevieve was sent to the women's prison at Golden Grove. Police Corporal Eldon Caliste swore that confidential intelligence led to the search warrants at the couple's homes where electronic devices were seized. The Hadids were initially held under Regulation 13 of the Emergency Powers Regulations before the PDOs were issued. The orders, though not yet gazetted, remain in effect until the ongoing state of emergency. Lawyers for businessman Dominic Hadid and his wife Genevieve have been given a day to review police records tied to their arrest. Their habeas corpus case came up before Justice Frank Sipasad, who questioned whether the matter was now academic after Homeland Security Minister Roger Alexander issued preventive detention orders under the state of emergency. Senior counsel Douglas Mendez argued the couple believed they were facing a routine police probe and were not properly told their detention fell under emergency regulations. He says the team wants to inspect official records before deciding on litigation. The Hadids, along with a relative identified as Star Sabga, were detained last week in a probe in an alleged plot to kill government officials. They remain behind bars under PDOs that last through the SOE, which ends in mid-September. The management of Dominic Hadid's company, Blue Waters, has assured employees that operations continue as normal despite the detention of its executive chairman. CNC3 News understands management held a company-wide meeting with staff this afternoon at its Orange Grove compound, assuring them that operations continue as normal and that there is no need to worry about their jobs or salaries. An employee described the mood inside the company as sad, saying Hadid was well liked by workers and there is a feeling that something is missing. Also, banking officials said Blue Waters' assets have not been frozen and there have been no changes to the company's accounts since Hadid's detention. Meanwhile, Anil Jutram, owner of ANN Supermarket, says the Blue Waters trucks are still delivering, sales representatives are still making their rounds, and customers continue buying the products.
the structure and the foundation of Blue Waters is very solid and very managerial centered. So I don't anticipate anything more than what the normal is in terms of their services.
While the Supermarket Association has declined to comment, Rajiv Dipti, who is Stop and Shop Supermarket Director, says nothing has changed in his commercial relationship with Blue Waters. The head of the Criminal Bar Association is tonight expressing shock by news of a police investigation involving a magistrate, describing it as an unprecedented development in recent times. Senior counsel Israel Khan tells CNC3 News that the alleged probe could damage public confidence in the judiciary. The investigation centers on allegations that a magistrate accepted bribes in exchange for favorable rulings. Police are also examining financial transactions, including bank deposits, as part of the probe. Khan, however, warns that the judiciary should not publicly defend itself while investigations are ongoing. Khan stressed that the magistrate is presumed innocent until proven guilty in court, but warned that if the allegations are substantiated, the fallout for the judiciary could be severe.
We'll bring the judiciary into total disregard, and people may be wondering that whether other magistrates are doing the same thing. So it definitely will bring the judiciary in a bad light. So let's hope if that investigation is true and there is evidence, we will definitely charge a particular magistrate.
Meanwhile, the head of the Assembly of Central Legal Practitioners, Kyle Taklal Singh, echoed the call for patience while investigators carry out their work. He said judicial officers must be treated no differently from any other citizen where allegations of criminal misconduct arise. And former Justice Minister Prakash Ramada is defending the independence of the judiciary, warning that allegations against a sitting magistrate must be tested by evidence, not suspicion. At a media conference this afternoon, Ramada said any judicial officer found guilty should face the law, but cautioned against undermining public confidence in the courts through unproven claims.
The one institution that we must protect with all of our strength and with our lives is the judiciary. As we have lost faith in many of the institutions of state, it is to the courts that we must look for that sobering, resettling of what is right, what is wrong, what is true, what is false. And any effort to undermine it, even by law enforcement, we must take that very seriously.
Also speaking at the media conference was attorney Michael Ruplal, who said the allegations against the magistrate were made over a year ago, so it was interesting to see the same allegations resurfacing in the public domain once again. PNM Deputy Political Leader Sanjeev Budu has rejected assurances from Homeland Security Minister Roger Alexander that there is no political interference in the issuance of preventive detention orders. Budu argues that the state of emergency regulations give the Homeland Security Minister sole authority to issue preventive detention orders, effectively placing the power to detain citizens in the hands of the executive. Budu said the detention of businessman Dominic Hadid has heightened fears within the business community over who could be next targeted, warning that Trinidad and Tobago is facing what he describes as a constitutional crisis.
The PDOs are given on the request of the police, so it has to be approved by the minister, but the request comes from the police. So he is right when he talks about the process with respect to that.
Meanwhile, Patriotic Front political leader Michaela Pandey adopted a more cautious position, saying she was not prepared to either conclude there had been political interference or accept government's assurances that there had been none. Well, for today's People Say, we asked whether you accept the Minister Roger Alexander's assurance that there is no political interference in the issuance of PDOs. This is what you had to tell us.
No, I don't. Because so far, everything them say, they're going back on their word, and everything them say is lies.
No. No.
I believe it is not political. We can't allow the system to be that it failed. You know, we have to believe in the system.
No. Why? Because everything in Trinidad and Tobago is politics and politics.
I don't know. I don't know what to believe right now. If we have things going, I don't know. I don't believe that. Huh?
Why?
We never had it before, and we're having it now.
Methanex Corporation says it will indefinitely idle its Titan methanol plant after failing to secure a new natural gas contract. The Titan facility, with an annual capacity of 860,000 tons, will be preserved once its current contract expires in the third quarter of this year. Methanex's CEO, Rich Sonma, says tight gas supply has made operations commercially unviable, despite extensive talks with the government and the National Gas Company. He adds the company is focused on supporting employees and safely preserving the site. Methanex says the decision will not affect earnings and the plant could restart if gas supply conditions improve. This comes on the heels of another setback for Point Lisas. Last October, Nutrien began a controlled shutdown of its Trinidad nitrogen operations at that complex. Efforts to reach Energy Minister Dr. Rudal Munilal and NGC Chairman Gerald Ramdeen for comment were unsuccessful. Let's tell you what's still to come in the news tonight. Police are stepping up patrols along the Beetham Highway after criminals use a suspected crash scheme to rob motorists. A landscape changed almost overnight. Now scientists are digging for answers behind the Galfa Beach transformation. Later on in sport, the West Indies bowls off, gets its flowers after emphatically dismantling Sri Lanka.
Life. What a wonderful journey we're on. Each stage is unique. And at Tata Life, we not only understand, but also appreciate that you'll have different needs at different times. So trust us to protect you and yours with our comprehensive range of financial planning solutions to ensure that you never, ever have to worry. To learn more, contact a Tata Life advisor or visit tatalife.co.tt today. For the many stages of your life, Tata Life, a member of the Ansa McCall Group.
Welcome back. A 46-year-old businessman was stabbed to death after getting into an argument with a woman he was in a relationship with at her Chagonas home last night. Police said Gregory Reese went to the woman's apartment at Oak Avenue, Woodford Garden sometime before 7 p.m. and they got into an argument, during which Reese was stabbed in his chest. Residents called the police and an ambulance as officers on patrol responded. Reese was declared dead at the scene. The 25-year-old woman has been arrested and remains in police custody. Reese was the manager of Trinidad and Tobago Dental. In 2017, Reese was charged with fraud and obtaining over $1.4 million by false pretenses. Police seized more than 100 cannabis plants and arrested one man after a shootout in Santa Cruz last night. Officers say they were chasing a suspicious vehicle in Paxville around 10:45 when a gunman jumped out and fired at them. Police returned fire, but the suspect escaped. The driver was caught and taken into custody. Inside the trunk, officers found 146 cannabis plants packed in boxes. They also recovered a Glock pistol with 2 magazines and 34 rounds of ammunition. A search at the suspect's home turned up even more ammunition and cannabis, and the investigation is continuing. Bandits are using new tactics along the Beetham Highway, and police say they're stepping up patrols to stop them. In the latest case, 3 people were robbed after pulling over on the eastbound lane to check damage to their van. They told officers another driver demanded they stop, and once parked, men from Beetham Gardens rushed in, stealing cash, jewelry, and a cell phone. Police in the Port of Spain division say while robbery numbers haven't increased compared to last year, they're aware of the trend and are deploying units to both sides of the highway. According to the Crime and Problem Analysis Branch, there have been 127 robberies in the division so far this year, the same figure recorded up to June 22, 2025. When contacted for comment, Laventil West MP Kareem Marcel condemned the robbery and called for more support to at-risk youths in the community. He also noted that despite the incident, he felt most Beetham residents were honest, hard-working people who supported themselves through legitimate means. The UK Home Office estimates there were 186 active gangs in Trinidad and Tobago in 2023. But behind that figure are communities where violence, poverty and loss have become part of daily life. Tonight, Doris Polo begins a three-part series exploring the realities behind the statistics, starting in one Laventille community where residents say there is far more to their home than labels attached to it.
Every morning, children walk these streets on their way to school. And like communities across Trinidad and Tobago, another day quietly begins.
From this pristine hilltop in St. Barb's, Laventille, we have this breathtaking view of the capital, offering one of the best panoramas in Trinidad. But beyond this breathtaking beauty is a community that has long been defined by headlines about murders and violence and gang activity.
Like family, should we go up like a family in one big community, gang, everybody from this community, and we have to secure the communities, you know what I mean? There's some people want to come in and distress the community. There's some people who want to come and take the community from different places, but we ain't having that.
To him, this is not simply a place associated with gangs. It is the community in which he lives. One he says residents have long tried to protect. The United Kingdom says TNT was home to 186 gangs in 2023. But statistics cannot explain what life is like for the thousands of people who wake up every day in communities where violence has become part of ordinary life.
It has hurt me to see plenty of young children in finishing school, dropping out of school, but the parents can't feed them. The parents can't buy books for them, but the parents can't feed themselves too.
Like many residents, he agreed to speak only if his identity was concealed. For this story, we are calling him Fabian. He believes many young people are judged long before they are understood.
Because we don't have what we really need. There are in this community need. There are the youth men them need in this community. There are plenty of them who finish school and have nowhere to go. There are some of them, the mother and the father, they have nothing. There are some of them who are leaving with the grandmother. The grandmother getting a pension, that can't feed the grandmother because there is small money.
He says poverty, unemployment and stigma reinforce a sense of loyalty to the community, while leaving many young people with few opportunities beyond it.
When a man knows he don't want to work and he can't feed his family, that was not a man, boy. That one really make a man want to kill too. I'm telling you, that make a man want to kill himself. Like, you go there and do something in case if you're dead. If you get you, you get you.
But hardship is only part of the story. The cost of violence is measured not only in statistics, but in the families left behind.
Bad enough because my grandson, he went in his shop, trying to go in the shop to get a phone card, and he get gunned down. He has 17 years.
She still lives here. Along these roads sit old beer bottles known as flambeaux. Here, they mark places where lives have been lost.
Any family members of yours got caught up in that life of crime at all? Yes. What would you tell them as a mommy who want them to, or a granny?
I don't want them in that kind of life. That life is not good. It didn't suit them. Try and get some kind of work or some kind of thing. It is they're trying to bring back memories, making me feel so cry. It's not easy. It's not easy.
For Fabian, this hill is family. For another, it is where her grandson was killed. Between those two truths lies the complexity behind Trinidad and Tobago's struggle with gang violence. Tomorrow, we examine why some young people growing up in communities like this choose a path so many others desperately want them to avoid. Doris Polo, CNC3 News.
Now, meanwhile, the British High Commission is standing by the figures contained in its country policy and information note published on June 5th, which stated there were 186 active gangs operating in Trinidad and Tobago in 2023. In response to questions from CNC3 News, the High Commission did not address whether the assessment affects asylum claims by Trinidad and Tobago nationals or the current level of engagement between the UK authorities and the Trinidad and Tobago government. Instead, it defended the report, saying its country policy and information notes are compiled using evidence from a wide range of reliable sources, including reputable media organizations, local and international bodies, human rights groups, and the UK's Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office. The High Commission said the reports are kept under constant review, updated periodically, and assessed. Over the weekend, Homeland Security Minister Roger Alexander rejected the UK's estimate, saying the government has different intelligence. He first disputed the figure on June 25th and reiterated that position on Sunday. Well, let's tell you what's still to come in the news tonight. A benefit concert for Tobago's Oscar B became a celebration of his life as fellow artists paid tribute to the music legend hours after his passing.
Right after the break, we find out why marine interests need to continue exercising caution.
Mom, Dad, this is Trevor.
Hi. He's no Kieran. Back up.
Fling? That's why he crossed the road. It was funny when Kieran said it.
Oh, who could that be?
We're like the parents who don't miss your ex.
I can't believe Kieran is in the neighborhood.
CG United. Good like that.
KC Gingermint, your trusted and natural wellness. Now with healthier options. KC Gingermint with honey and lime. KC Gingermint with orange and KC Gingermint with lemon. KC Ginger, honey, lemon, lime, and orange. Natural and trusted for generations for soothing sore throats and digestion and boost immunity. Get your new KC Candy Gingermint extended range today and breathe naturally.
Lucozade, bring the energy. Unbeatable taste, new look.
The wait for parents and guardians of SEA students will soon be over. The Education Ministry says the 2026 secondary entrance assessment results will be released this Thursday, July 2nd, with students able to access their results online from 11 p.m. via the ministry's SEA portal. This year, 17,509 students sat the examination in March. The ministry says results can be viewed and downloaded online and is reminding parents that schools will not issue hard copies as they are not required for the secondary school registration process. The government officially began collecting relief supplies for earthquake-struck Venezuela today. Last week, the government extended its hand to the Venezuelan government and announced that all regional corporations will collect relief items, with the Ministry of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs spearheading the effort. The number of people killed in 2 Venezuelan earthquakes has risen to at least 1,450, with over 4,300 injured. Venezuelan authorities say they need everything from medical supplies and water purification plants to heavy machinery and even body bags as the search for victims goes on. Today, Venezuelan activist Yesenia Gonzalez described the situation as frightening, and she anticipates it will only get worse.
With some of my friends, I really can't get in contact with them. And my worker, some of the family, they lost a whole family. Wow. So it's very sad, you know. And I mean, to hear every day you will get a call, and it's somebody you know, somebody connected to that person or that person. It is very, very, very sad. I mean, I think every day I cry, and looking at the news, looking at all those videos, it's very, very sad. It's horrible right now in Venezuela.
That death toll has since climbed to 1,719, with over 5,000 injured. The quakes with magnitudes of 7.2 and 7.5 hit a minute apart last Wednesday, and the second was the strongest to hit Venezuela since 1900. Rescue teams from across the region, including Barbados, are on the ground, and so far 33 people have been pulled alive from the rubble. Scientists from UWI's Seismic Research Center spent the day at Gala in Cedros trying to better understand the dramatic changes to the coastline following last week's earthquakes off Venezuela. But as Sigoni Mohammed reports, determining exactly what happened beneath the ground will take some time.
This stretch of coastline at Gala looks very different today than it did just days ago. Scientists believe the recent earthquakes of Venezuela triggered major changes here. Now they are trying to piece together exactly how and when it happened. The dramatic transformation has drawn curious visitors from across Trinidad, including Cedros residents like the Schneider family, who know this shoreline well.
This piece of land that we're standing on right now was not here. It was just like a narrow piece of sand and rock in front of that point right over there. All this did not exist before.
Researchers from UWI's Seismic Research Center are collecting field measurements to test whether the area's geology made it especially vulnerable to shaking generated by the Venezuelan earthquakes.
Yeah, we come to characterize the area to see if it fits with our hypothesis as to why the landslide happened, and to do a proper scientific investigation to confirm, or as best as we can, that is what to do.
One question scientists still cannot answer is whether the movement happened during one earthquake, several aftershocks, or smaller local events.
We have a seismometer in Cedros, and so part of the field trip is to go and get the data from that seismometer as well. And that will we'll be able to verify if we had local events that could have been responsible.
But researchers face another challenge. There are not enough nearby seismic stations to precisely locate where those events may have originated. That means scientists must combine regional seismic records with what they observe in the field to reconstruct what happened.
In seismology, you need 3 sensors to detect the event for you to locate it. And we only have one in this peninsula.
While there is no indication another major earthquake is imminent, they caution that the area remains a dynamic landscape and visitors should be cautious while exploring the site.
If you go upslope of the landslide, the land would not necessarily be very stable, it's very disrupted and full of fluids, and so walking on it, you might sink in the ground or fall down easy.
Sigoni Mohammed, CNC3 News.
That must have been some trip for you today, Sigoni. Wow.
It was a long day, and you know, the researchers are reminding people that if you head down there, just be careful, and they're encouraging people to go down, visit the site, and learn more about it and get excited about what's happening down there.
Wow, what did you make of seeing all of that? That was once beach, that was once water.
It was insane, and seeing the height difference, it was crazy. It actually reminds me of what's happening with our beaches right now, and the fact that it's a little bit on the rough side, so you have to exercise caution.
Can we expect some rain?
Of course. Let me tell you what's happening out there, because even while we were in Galfa and Cedros today, we got some rain shower activity in parts of Trinidad, so a lot of wet weather, and that's all because of this tropical wave that is now moving away from the island, but it left us with a lot of cloudiness, and we're seeing some lingering moisture taking us into this overnight forecast. So look out for cloudy skies to persist, and with it some showery activity. Parts of Rio Claro are expecting that just after midnight as well. Tobago will see some showery activity, mainly light to moderate showers, but right now conditions are settling down, so we're expecting some improvement as the days progress. But that's not all. This is where it all changes, because we still have Saharan dust haze lingering on the sidelines, just waiting to enter the picture, and by midweek we could see a mild to moderate concentration of dust making itself known and present, and with it temperatures really ramping up. So we have moisture rolling in from that wave. As we go through the forecast, tomorrow will be a little bit on the cloudy side still, so variably cloudy skies with some possibilities of showers moving in and around the area. Some could get heavy at times, so still have the umbrella on hand when you're commuting and conducting your activities. Now, through Wednesday and Thursday, we do have Saharan dust haze present, dull and dusty conditions, but then as we approach the end of this week, another tropical wave will make its presence known, and that means more wet weather in the forecast, not just for Trinidad, but for Tobago as well, ending off the week with rain showers and possible thunderstorm activity. But before we get to that, we'll see that sunshine creeping in, and with it warmer temperatures, a gentle breeze every now and then, but it's not enough to keep you cool and hydrated, so stay in the know where that is concerned, and have a bottle of water on hand, especially through midweek. If you're heading to the beaches, conditions here remain moderate, occasionally choppy within the nearshore areas. However, wind speeds are still strong, and with it our wind direction will be holding steady between an east to southeasterly breeze. But get this, that's not the big player in the marine interest factor here. What we have is spring tide in full effect, so be mindful as we go through this forecast period. Highs and low tides will be a little bit on the elevated side, so you want to exercise extra caution, and it's all because of the full moon, which is happening tonight. A big bright moon through the clouds. If you can see it, get a chance and go outside.
I will definitely be having a look at it. Thanks very much, Sigoni. I know you've had a long day. Get some rest.
I'm tired.
I'll see you in a little bit. Let's tell you what's still to come in the news tonight. The Wild took over the stage as Yuma unveiled its ferocious vision for Carnival 2026 with a spectacular show of their costumes.
Score big at Passad's D-Food Game with our mega month-end deals. Big savings on Sundays, ice cream assorted, 3.8 liters, 2 for only $99. Coca-Cola soft drink 2 liters, 2 bottles, now only $18. Aqua Pure Water, only $14.99 per case. Bezla Mac and Cheese, 5 packs, now only $20. Clean and White Bleach, 3.8 liters, now only $30. Catelli Tomato Ketchup, 750 ml, 4 packs for just $20. Cotoneer Paper Towel XL, 220 sheets, 2 rolls for just $28. Swiss Master Cups assorted, 4 packs, now only $18. Don't wait, shop and score big on your everyday essentials at Passad's D-Food King. Offer ends July 8 or while stocks last.
Quality value, that's our way. The real Passad's, we're here to stay. The Food King Passad's.
Heart disease is the #1 cause of death in Trinidad and Tobago, driven by 2 silent threats, diabetes and high cholesterol. But now there's a powerful ally, introducing Berberine Plus by Asia Nutrition, clinically proven to stabilize blood sugar and keep cholesterol levels in check. With 99.9% pure extract, you get superior absorption and real results. Available now at Pennywise and leading pharmacies nationwide. Berberine Plus. Your heart deserves better.
In every room, Vision sets the standard. For a limited time only, get your progressive transition lenses with an anti-reflective coating, designer frames, and eye exams. Starting at $16.50, only at Seaview Optical. Affordable eye care for everyone.
Every day, your nasal passages are exposed to dryness, from dry air, CPAP machines, oxygen therapy, sinusitis, allergies, and the common cold. When the nose becomes dry, breathing doesn't feel comfortable. It feels irritated, tight, and blocked. Introducing Nasogel Spray, a gentle nasal spray designed to help restore moisture where you need it most. Its hydrating formula helps soothe and relieve dryness inside the nasal passages, supporting more comfortable breathing. Nasogel Spray, so you can breathe better every day. Available at pharmacies nationwide.
Welcome back. Secretary of Community Development Ian Pollard is in good spirits despite remaining warded at St. Clair Medical Center. His sister gave an update on his condition during a prayer vigil in Mason Hall Electoral District yesterday. The vigil was well attended with several members of the Executive Council, including Chief Secretary Farley Augustine, joining in worship. Pollard suffered a medical emergency over 2 weeks ago, which saw him initially hospitalized at Scarborough before being transferred to the private facility. His relative, Heather Pollard, urged people to avoid speculation and instead pray for healing and recovery.
He is in a very good spirit. He is stronger. Amen. It's the best I've seen him since this encounter. And for that, we remain prayerful. Yes. We remain hopeful. Yes. Amen. And we want to say thank you, Jesus. Yes. There is a little, well, the damage was done, so recovery will take a little while. Yeah.
All right, some really good news there. Augustine has challenged his assemblyman and the Tobago East MP to assume Pollard's electoral district responsibility and also check on the welfare of his family. It is now time for sport with Jassy. Jassy, shocking news in my ear. Our director told me a few minutes ago, Germany is out.
Yeah, they certainly have been booted out. And just think back, Ryan, to the start of this World Cup. Paraguay started on the wrong end of a 4-1 defeat to the USA. Germany, they were cruising past Curacao 7-1, but